Hey guys, if you don't know who I am, I'm Jamie Dallas with Benchmark Realty here in Middle Tennessee in the Nashville area. And today I am going to be talking about RV developments, RV resorts, RV parks. I'm getting a fair amount of questions and I'm seeing this in a lot of places that people really want to buy into RV parks or develop their own. So in this video, we're going to kind of touch on both. I have had 4 RVs. I've been an RVer for many years. I've had a motor coach, a fifth wheel, 2 travel trailers. My parents had a big motor coach that they lived in half the year for 9 years. And so I have spent a lot of time in RV parks. I've lived in RV parks temporarily. I've also been a house flipper for about 25 years. And so in between homes, I'll often grab an RV and ride that out until I'm ready to purchase again. So I am very well versed in the RV world. And so I thought I would do a quick video here to kind of give people some direction on if you're looking to purchase one already done, already built, or if you want to do your own. I'm not going to get into the weeds on either of those. That's another video, but this one is just to give you some general direction on important aspects to be considering as you're figuring out what your next move is. RV resorts can be a fantastic source of income, and they can be fairly easy to manage. Everything's just got to be kind of lined up the right way. So my first piece of advice is, number one, know who your target customer is. Who is this person? Who is the person that's coming? There are 2 main groups of RVers that we see. There's a lot of, there's a whole bunch of everybody, but the 2 main groups we see are the snowbirds or retirees or campers. And again, there's people in between, but these are the 2 main general groups. And those 2 groups are usually looking for very different parks and resorts. So not always, but usually. So we're going to talk about the differences. I'm going to kind of give you the tips on what each of those are looking for. So first thing first, once you figure out who your target customer is, because that depends, obviously, if you're going to do snowbirds and retirees, that's generally a more expensive park, more expensive amenities than somebody that's just wanting to camp, or a weekend warrior type that's coming with the kids and the dirt bikes and they just want to get away for the weekend. So we're going to touch on both. Here we go. Number 1, location. Location is huge. So if you were you're focused on campers, their location, generally they're looking for something a little farther out. They want peace and quiet. They want to see nature. They want to get out and hike some trails and just sort of have that, weekend getaway feel. If you are focused on snowbirds and retirees, those guys are generally coming with bigger, more expensive rigs. Not always. Again, this is a generalization based on my many years of experience, but that group, the snowbirds and the retirees, are generally looking for amenities. They want amenities. They want to be closer to town usually. I mean, they like the kind of removed feeling, the peaceful out in nature as well, but they're also looking for restaurants, shopping. And if you can get near a Walmart, Walmart is huge for RVers. If you're not familiar, Walmarts generally have a really good RV selection, like an RV department, where, if you're just camping for the weekend, your weekend warrior type of person, that's not near as big a deal, because if something breaks, you can kind of limp through the weekend and get yourself home. But if you're a snowbird or a retiree and you're in your RV, half the year, and something goes wrong and you're staying in the resort for a few weeks, a month, however long, having a Walmart close by is a big deal, because that can get you by until you can get yourself to a Camping World or to your dealer or anything to get whatever needs to be fixed, or pick up whatever you need. So location is huge. Like if you get those snowbird clients, that customer, they want to be out, seeing the sights, enjoying, whatever town is close by usually, and then come back to the resort. So location, number 1. Number 2, access. Access is a big deal. So again, everything's going to be a little bit easier and more affordable with the camping side if that's the customer that you're focused on. Those guys aren't usually, yes, most of the time they're coming with smaller travel trailers. Not always, they do come with motor coaches and fifth wheels, but a lot of times they'll come with smaller campers hooked to a pickup. They can get in and out of areas a lot easier. They don't mind gravel or dirt roads as much. So that gives you a lot more freedom. If you're focused on the snowbirds and the retirees with the bigger coaches, they are needing nicer roads generally. Not just nicer, but wider. They've got to have clearance to get in. There was a fantastic park that I stayed in here in Tennessee. I can't remember the name right now, but message me below or comment below and I will dig up that name for you. It was beautiful. And luckily I had rented a small travel trailer to tow on the back of my pickup. And so we could get in there, but they did warn us going in that the turns were so tight that a bigger rig could not. And they had like a limit. They told us of what could make the turns and all that. So, because you got to think these motor coaches, they're coming with toads on the back a lot of the time. If you haven't heard that acronym, and I can't remember what exactly it stands for, but it's toad, like frog. And it's a tow vehicle on the back, or they have a big trailer on the back. And sometimes the tow vehicles have dollies and they're either on all four tires on the ground, or they're on a dolly or they're its own trailer. Either way, it's a long rig to get in. And so that is really important that these guys can access well. And they really don't like going over gravel roads if they don't have to. If you see some of these Prevost buses out there and those much higher end, the Newells, the Newmars, oh gosh, what's the other one? The Tiffins. You get a lot of really high-end rigs, like they're $1 million plus. I know the Prevost, which looks like Prevost, if you see that going down the road, that's pronounced Prevost, the Prevost bus. The last time I heard, they start at like $4.5 million. So those people generally aren't wanting to drive down a gravel road to get there. So these are all things to consider when you're looking at the park, whether it be already built or you're wanting to develop it yourself. The access is really important. I know personally, I had a 40-foot fifth wheel that I hauled with a dually. It was extra tall, extra wide. Tiffin's version of it was a really nice rig, and I did not want to take it on too many yucky roads because I didn't want all the rock chips and everything. But I also got myself into the Great Smoky Mountain Trail, onto it, whatever. It was awful. It was awful. I learned my lesson not to use Waze, because Waze takes you the fastest, most direct way to get there. And I was meeting some friends. I was in Margaritaville and Lake Lanier outside of Atlanta. Amazing park. If you ever get a chance to see that park, go see that park. It is so beautiful. It's Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville. So anyways, I got on Waze. Waze took me straight to Pigeon Forge instead of back around on the highway. It took me the fastest way, which was up over the Great Smoky Mountain Trail with a dually truck and a 40-foot fifth wheel. And it was not fun. Those roads are tight. I mean, there were times trying to get around that thing, trying to get over it, because to go around would have been taking me hours. And by the time I got there and realized where I was, there was nowhere to turn this thing around. So I was going over. It is what it is. And there's a sign at the bottom that warns you, steep grade, tight turns for the next 35 miles. You know, it's this huge sign like the size of a house. So it is what it is. I made it over, but there were definitely turns where I literally was having to take up the other oncoming lanes. It's just two lanes going over, and I'd literally have to like hold my hand out the window to stop traffic and be like, hey, I need to make this corner and I need your side of the road to do it. I mean, it was not smart. So roads are really important when you're talking about RVs, and clearance. You got to have tons of clearance for those guys. So you either got to be in there trimming trees, or the county be able to trim the trees, be allowed to trim the trees to get some of these bigger rigs back to your property. So that was number 2. Number 3 is size. Size matters, apparently. So I'm just kidding. But so the size of your park, how big a park do you want to do? Again, this is, going to come down to how much work do you want to do? How much do you want to invest? and what kind of customer are you focused on. So it's, when you get in there, you want to look at, once you figure out your customer. So if you've got campers, much easier. You can have a lot more back-end spots. It doesn't necessarily need to be paved as much. You just don't need all the parking. You've just got those guys pulling in, pulling out for the weekend, not as big a deal. On the other side, if you've got snowbirds, they generally are coming with the tows or trailers on the back or extra vehicles, whether it's got a trailer attached to it or not. They need the parking. So the slip, the sites have to be long enough to get the whole rig in and their car, or have some parking for their extra vehicles or their dollies or whatever. So you need to look at, are you going to do a lot of pull-through sites? Pull-through sites are very popular, especially when they're on the road long distance. Like there's a place in North Florida called Travelers. We all love Travelers because Travelers has tons of pull-through sites. So if you're just coming through for a couple nights or a night, making your way out or into Florida, a lot of people stop at Travelers because you don't have to unhook the whole rig. You just pull in, pull your slides out, you get in, you do your thing, you hook up to power and everything, but you're not unhooking the whole thing from the truck. If you have a motor coach, it doesn't matter as much, but the pull-through sites are really nice. A lot of people really like the pull-through sites. You can't back up with a toad on the back of your vehicle. So, a lot of times you'll see them come in. Most people have no problem backing into a site, but the pull-through sites do better, in my opinion. If you've got plenty of those and you got room for those do, I think, better per night. They're usually a little bit more expensive to rent, and they're usually taken up faster because people, even if they're staying, even if they're unhooking, it's just nice to have it. It's just easier to get in, especially with the motor coach with a toad on the back. They've got to stop, get the toad off, get the car off, get the dolly unhooked, and now they can back the RV in. So it's kind of a lot more work. If they've got a pull-through site, they just pull in and unhook the car whenever they want to unhook the car. So anyways, because you've been traveling, sometimes you have animals in the car, they're hot, everybody's hungry, whatever. You want to just get out and plug the rig in and get going, get the AC going and all that. You don't want to be having to deal with the car first, but sometimes you have to if there's no pull-through sites. So pull-through sites are great. Okay, let me see. Size, more spots. Amenities. Number 4, amenities. So if you've got campers, most people love a pool, especially when they're coming with their kids and all that. And if it's hot, if you're in a climate that's hot, has hotter temperatures in the summer, because most people are doing this during the spring, summer, and fall. So the pools are great. Showers are really important. Showers to both sides, I would say, are important, because even if some of these big RVs, these big motor coaches, they do have nice showers in them, great hot water tank. I mean, in mine, I could take a 20-minute hot shower, no problem. In a smaller camper, they can't as much. You're having to turn it on and off. It's running out of hot water very quickly. You've got minutes, like a couple minutes to take a shower. So if you have a shower house, great. So with the campers, again, the pool would be nice. Showers would be nice. You don't need laundry. Laundry is not as important with campers, because if they're just camping for the weekend or a short period of time, they're generally not using your laundry facility. But snowbirds do. A lot of snowbirds do have their own washer and dryer. I know I did. I preferred to use my own, so I didn't have to drag everything down to the laundry mats. Or not laundry mat, but the laundry on site. So laundry is important though. And the other is hookups. What do you have for hookups? Again, 2 different scenarios. Is it full hookups? Is it partial hookups? And you also need to decide, are you going to do 50 or 30 amp hookups? So some of these bigger rigs, most of the bigger rigs are going to need 50 amp hookups. Some of the smaller ones only need 30. So it all just depends what you want to include per site. Of course, full hookups is 30 and 50 amp hookup, water, and your own sewer dump on site. So you don't have to go to the general dump station at the end of, at the end of the RV park when you're pulling out. So personally, I prefer to have full hookups. I rarely stayed anywhere where I didn't have full hookups, mostly just for the convenience, but I also didn't want to, have everything all dialed in and tightened up and ready to get on the road. And then I've got to go stop by the dump station as I'm rolling out of the RV park. And I'm trying to hook all that up and deal with it while somebody's behind me, or three somebodies are behind me waiting for their turn. And I just would rather just do it on my own lot, have it all done and buttoned up, and then I get on the road. So I prefer full hookups. I'd say most snowbirds prefer full hookups. And campers kind of varies depending on what type of camper they are. So again, the less amenities you have, the less you'll be able to charge for the site per night. So generally, the more amenities you have, the better the site hookups are. I would say the more customers you're going to get. So number 5, investment. I mean, how much you want to invest is just like anything. I mean, you're basically, you're a business owner, you're basically a developer at this point. If you're developing from scratch, and sometimes, the RV parks, even though they're started, they may not be done, or you can finish it out the way you want. So either way, your investment, it's just like anything else. However much you invest, you want to make sure you can get that back on the other end. Are you in a seasonal location where you're not going to make much off season, and your season needs to cover your off season? So all those things are something to consider. How much land do you need? Again, are you going to do for bigger rigs and have extra parking and have lots of pull through spots, or are you going to do smaller lots for smaller rigs and all that? So everything, that's just all relative what you want to spend on it. And know your location. I tell people, go spend time in RV parks. So that is probably my number 6, piece of advice is go spend time in RV parks. If you're already an RVer, you get it. You know what you're looking for. You know what you like and don't like. But if you're not, rent some RVs. Be in them. Understand what your customer is needing and wanting and kind of what you deal with. Go out and stay in some of these parks. Go across the country or wherever you are and check out some of these nicer parks and not so nice parks, and really do your research, because these can be very profitable, but they can also be, just like any investment, risky, and maybe not get a great return. So I would really do your research, understand who your clientele is, understand what you're building, and what you need to really get that return, how much you're investing. Contractors are expensive. All of those amenities are expensive to put in. So really, you've got to look at the long term. How long is it going to take you before you get that return on investment? And if it's already built, make sure you're getting numbers from these people. Like if it's already been an active RV park, make sure you're getting, I would ask for tax returns. I wouldn't want to just take someone's word or just see sort of spreadsheets. I would want to see tax returns, like see what they're really clearing, because you don't want to get, into something where somebody's fudged the numbers a little bit to make it look better, more profitable. And then you get into it and realize you might be underwater, because like any investment, if it doesn't cash flow, or at least break even where you can build over time and eventually get cash flow out of it, you're going to have a hard time reselling it if you buy into something that's not a good investment. So I would ask to see tax returns. I would ask to see utility bills. I would ask to see any updates or upgrades that have been done, and just kind of do an inventory of what might need to be done in the next 5 or 10 years, so that you know what you're investing in is smart and going to be a good return, and a good investment. So anyways, if I missed anything, or you guys think of anything that I should have touched on that you would have liked covered, please comment below and let me know. I mean, I'm here to educate and just share my experiences to help other people. So if you have, something you've thought of that I didn't think of, please post it below and share with everybody else. So anyways, I think that's it. If you guys have any questions, you can reach me at the number below or above or wherever it ends up. Give me a call. I work both Florida and Middle Tennessee. And that's it. Thanks for watching, guys. See you on the next one.